Hello everyone, welcome back to baking. Welcome back to another episode. But today we're going to make lemon drizzle, gluten-free lemon drizzle cake. So we need to preheat the oven to 180, which is gas mark 4. Let's go, let's rock and roll. Haha.
Hello everyone and welcome to baking. It's me, Jack.
And it's me, Paul.
And this week, Paul's making a fantastic gluten-free lemon drizzle cake.
It's very tasty. Best lemon drizzle cake I've ever had.
And surprise feature, it's got mashed potatoes in. That's what we use instead of flour. So go on.
First of all, I'm going to lay out my tea towel, chopping board, and I'm going to get the potatoes ready. So you're going to want, I think we used one for this.
You used quite a large potato, yeah.
It was.
But you want about 125 grams of mashed potato.
Exactly.
So 2 medium size, 1 very large. That should do the job.
It should do.
You can weigh your potato after it's peeled and see if you've got enough, because it'll be roughly the same weight once it's mashed.
What I found sometimes though is it changes weight.
You want to go slightly heavier.
Because it holds some of the water from the water that you're boiling it in, and you mash it. It can hold a little bit more water.
One of the things we did suggest last week is that to some people on one of our Zooms was that you could have mashed potatoes the day before for your dinner.
Yeah.
And keep some leftovers.
I mean, ideally, I think what we used to do in Kokomo is make a whole load of mashed potato, freeze it, and take it out as we needed it to make this cake.
Right, there you go. Paul, for those of you who don't know, Kokomo is a cafe Paul used to work in.
Yeah, it is.
So there we go, we peeled the potato. We've made a mess with peels everywhere, which is absolutely fine.
Yeah, that's absolutely fine.
That's what we expect.
Get your pan ready, which is already full of water. So you don't want to overfill it, you just want it about halfway.
So you're doing cold water, putting the potato in and then warming it up?
Yeah. I mean, you can put a kettle full of water in there to speed it up. But we had time, so another important tip is try and keep all your sizes of potato the same size.
Yeah, so you went for 8s.
Yeah, that's about right.
And we're heading over to the stove.
There we go.
So if you're not comfortable using the cooker, make sure you get someone to help you with the hob and warm that potato up. Boil it until it's cooked.
So bring it to a boil, gentle simmer until it's gone soft.
So here we are, we're getting the baking.
Yeah,
baking tin.
I always get my tin ready for baking, so it's all ready to go. So once it's all mixed, you can just put it straight into your tin.
Yeah, because your potatoes are boiling away anyway.
Yeah. So I always prep the tin. Why I'm getting anything else ready, or I've weighed out my ingredients. Line your tin with a bit of butter. Get your grease proof ready. So I just use a little bit of butter. Put it on your finger and rub it around the tin, as you can see I'm doing here.
Now, if you didn't have butter, you could use a little bit of vegetable oil. You're just looking for something to stop everything from sticking.
Yeah.
Butter is nicer.
I mean, I always use, not everyone has the different ways of doing things. Some people don't go with the baking parchment. I tend to think it helps it to not stick. Sometimes your tin can have a little crack in it and the cake just won't come out. This just helps you lift it out. So I always line a tin around where the cake's going to be exposed, and the rest of the butter just helps your baking parchment to stay put and stay in place. That's all I do it for. It's always worked for me. So
you just use it as a little blanket to pull the cake out at the end, don't you?
Yeah, that's all I do.
But you don't have to do that. You can line it all with greaseproof paper. You can not line it with paper. You can just use the butter.
Because there's a spray as well.
See what you're comfortable with. Yeah, use a spray.
There's baking spray.
So here we are. We're moving on now. We've got the bowl.
So the mashed potatoes are ready, I think.
First thing first, we're going to get our scale.
Get your scales. Mashed potatoes ready.
They're not mashed yet.
They're not ready. Well, they're ready to mash. We just mash them. Obviously let them cool as well, so you want them to be nice and cold, because otherwise it'll just melt your butter.
Using the magic of YouTube, Paul's potatoes had already cooled.
Yeah. They've been sat there for a while.
A couple hours. Anyway, so we're mashing them up. You don't want any lumps, you just want to mash them nice and smooth.
I think you can use, I think my auntie used to use a potato ricer.
Yeah.
Which is better than a mash.
Because you're going to get much smoother consistency.
Yeah, it was a lot smoother. But I find if you just keep on mashing it for a while, you'll get most of them lumps, or the big lumps out.
Yeah.
And you mix it all together anyway. So there you go, it's all nice and mashed. Get your bowl ready, your scales ready, set them.
Yeah, don't forget to zero your scale, get your bowl on.
Scales.
First thing first, 100 grams of butter.
Yep.
Or baking butter if you don't want to use real butter.
Real butter's better.
Much more flavourful.
Yeah. Makes it nice and buttery.
100 grams. Funny that. Butter makes it buttery.
It is. So it's 100 grams of butter.
Which only took us 4 tries.
Quickly followed by 100 grams of sugar. As we pull it in right now.
Here we go. Cast the sugar.
Cast the sugar. And zero your scales. I don't think I zeroed them.
Zero if you just add
Because I know that I'm going over. But I did. I actually did. I zeroed it. Because as always with most cakes, you start with your fat and your sugar and you whisk it together and combine it.
There we go.
I wasn't happy.
One little extra drop.
I wanted that last little grain. It was left on that. It was just doing me head in. I needed to get that last little grain in.
Okay, so we've got the butter and sugar in. We're going to give them a mix, right?
Yep.
Oh, you weren't sure if I was moving on to a different shot, I think.
I think I was actually directing you to give me a spoon. Because I didn't have a spoon.
Spatula.
Yep. See, I'd washed them earlier on and put them all away.
Those of you that don't know, the cupboard is on the other side of the counter from where Paul is. So I spend all my time in the camera and also digging around in the cupboard for what Paul might have forgotten.
Exactly. So I'm just combining the sugar and butter together with the back of the spoon. That's all I'm doing here.
Creaming the butter and sugar.
It is. Technical term, cream the sugar and butter.
Yeah. So you just want to push it together until it's all combined.
Yeah.
And there should be no parts that look just like butter and no parts that look just like sugar.
Exactly.
It should all look the same.
So
it's fairly soft.
Fairly soft, yeah. It depends on what butter you're using.
Right.
If it's the real butter and it's just come out the fridge, it's never going to look like that because it'll be too hard. But that is the consistency that you want.
Okay.
And then you add your 2 eggs. 2 medium eggs, I think it is. Into your bowl.
Without the shells is much better.
Without the shells. It adds a bit of texture though if you get a bit of shell in. Adds a little crunch. Yeah, it's lovely. And then I add the lemon zest at this point as well. So this cake moves quite quickly once you get it all ready and it's all prepped. So your lemon zest goes in. I think it's half a lemon zest.
It's actually zest of 1 whole lemon.
Is it? Oh yeah.
On your recipe.
You're absolutely correct, Chief. It is.
And as
1 whole
as
lemon.
You can see, you are going the whole way around.
I am.
So you can grate your zest, you can use a zester, you can do whatever you want.
Yeah.
You could even go crazy and finely chop some lemon peel.
I
change the texture slightly.
It would. I don't really like that because sometimes you get big chunks of lemon and it's just not as nice.
I'm a fan. If you chop it up nicely.
I think candied lemon would work well.
Yeah.
Candied lemon. So you want to just incorporate all this together now.
So that your eggs are going to come together with your butter and your sugar.
And it goes really creamy. I just wanted to make sure all the butter was in there. There we go. I think I actually instruct you at this point to give me a whisk.
I think we shouldn't talk about things until they happen.
Exactly. You told me this before.
I think so. So we're just mixing now. We're just mixing with the spatula and trying to get everything nice and smooth together.
Exactly. It won't work as well. This is why. Yeah.
You might want to use a whisk at home. It might make this stage easier.
A whisk will make it easier. I think that's why it bothers me sometimes because I'm watching myself do these again and I'm like, yeah, a whisk would do that job a lot better.
So there you go. Your top tip. Even Paul himself thinks it could have went better if you'd have used a whisk.
It'd speed it up a lot.
You could use an electric mixer even, but the main thing is you don't want to get too much air into this. You just want to mix it together.
Yeah.
I mean, a bit of air in there is not going to kill you.
It's not.
But the main goal is just to get it mixed.
Yeah, you want the butter to sort of incorporate. See,
there's the whisk.
I knew it did.
Yeah, but it doesn't matter if you
It doesn't matter.
We should just talk about things as they happen.
We should.
So here we go. We've got the whisk. We're going for a bit more crazy, getting everything a bit more smooth.
It's because you can't
That was
sometimes.
worth me finding in the cupboards, wasn't it, folks?
It was.
30 seconds of work it did.
I think sometimes you can't knock out the little lumps of butter.
Yeah.
That's why you want a whisk.
So here we go. So it's time to add our mashed potato.
125 grams.
Star of the day. 125 grams of mashed potatoes.
There we go.
And And we've added the potatoes and also some
Ground
ground
almonds.
almonds.
It's 88 grams of ground almonds.
There you go. Big ingredient in some of my favourite things like cherry bakewells.
Yep.
I'm a big fan of a bakewell.
Exactly. And in the past, with this recipe, I have added like a little bit of honey.
Okay.
Because I think honey and lemon's a good mix. And it does work, I've done it loads of times. I've even tried this with lime.
Okay.
Which works again.
A lime cake.
Yeah, it's quite nice.
I'm a lemon guy, if I'm honest.
I love it. It's
I like
surprisingly...
lime on savoury.
Yeah.
Is more my speed, but you know, as we should say, we won't knock it till we try it. And now we've got a bit of baking powder, 1 teaspoon, I believe.
1 teaspoon is all we need in this.
Aren't we all a fan of Paul's lovely new measuring spoons, by the way? I was playing dinosaurs with them. I made them look like Diplodocus.
Yeah. Jose went
okay.
searching for me to try and find bigger spoons as well.
Scales away, because we've got all our ingredients in now, I believe.
Yeah, everything's
just,
in now.
As usual, mix it till it's smooth. Mix it till it all looks the same.
Just with this one, try not over mix it because you might split the mixture.
You don't want to make potato soup.
No. Your butter will split from the sugars and everything.
So as soon as it looks like it's come together,
yeah, you want to stop.
You're good. Don't mess with it anymore.
No. You just want to get all them lumps out.
There we go. Looks like you're happy. It's almost
I am.
time to go in the tin.
I was very happy with this. It turned out tremendously well.
So you can see your mix. It looks a little bit craggy, a little bit lumpy. That's okay.
Yeah.
It's not actually lumpy. As long as there's no actual physical lumps that are stuck together, you're good to go.
It's all well mixed.
It almost looks a little bit like sandy. When
Yeah,
you
yeah.
look at it.
It will look a bit sandy.
That's how it should look. And so get that into your loaf tin.
But that's because it's not as refined as flour.
Makes sense.
Your potatoes can always hold a little bit more shape and it's bigger in.
Now you could do this in a normal cake tin, right?
Yeah,
You
yeah.
don't need to do it in a you just prefer a loaf tin.
I developed this to go into loaf tin because it's more than what I actually usually use.
Right.
I think the recipe I usually use has 6 eggs and probably 300 odd grams.
It's
375. Yeah.
3 times what we're doing.
And that'd fit into I think it's a 23 centimetre round tin.
Right. So if you wanted to make a round tin because you were doing it for a celebration or something, then you can do, absolutely.
You can always adapt recipes to the size of the tin that you want to use.
There we go. There it is. Spread out evenly across the bottom of the loaf tin.
And it won't rise too much. Don't look for a rise.
Here we go. We're heading over to the oven.
There we go.
You weren't sure if you were going then.
No, I had a bit of a moment, you see.
And here it is.
All ready
lovely,
to go.
Ready to go into that oven. And that oven is preheated to 180, I believe.
Preheated to 180.
Right in the middle there. See you later, cake.
See you in a bit.
Thumbs up, mate. Bye. And as you see, Paul's quite spot on there. Not much of a rise. Has gone lovely and golden brown.
It
on the
will
top.
go lovely and golden brown.
Got a few little cracks, which are just making me very excited about this cake already.
Exactly. You can just let it cool for a few moments.
Just stab a knife in to check if it's cooked.
There you go.
Not much residue there, and you know, if it was really soft and wet on the knife, then we'd know it wasn't cooked.
To be honest with you, sometimes you can be a bit confused by this.
Because of the potato.
Yeah, it can stick to the knife and it can look like it's not cooked. It can be like quite soft to touch.
More importantly, have you just seen the greaseproof paper in action there?
Yeah.
Using it as like a hammock.
That's exactly why I do that method.
Here we go. So the cake is cooling, and while the cake cools on your cooling rack, you can get your sugar and your lemon and you can make the drizzle.
Yeah.
For the famous lemon drizzle cake.
Roughly 2 tablespoons of sugar and the juice of your lemon that was left over. So we're not wasting any lemon in this recipe. All the lemon gets used. Yeah.
And I made Paul eat the skins afterwards so he didn't waste them. No, they went in the compost, which we'll use that to feed our plants in the future. So
Exactly.
It's okay.
We always recycle everything.
So juice of a whole lemon there, 2 tablespoons of caster sugar. Now you can adjust this lemon and sugar mixture to your liking.
Yeah. This can be the point as well where you could add some honey as well.
Or you could do some honey in the drizzle.
Yeah.
Interesting.
as well.
I think my mum, when she used to do lemon drizzle, would do half caster, half icing sugar.
Yeah,
So it made a bit more of a glaze, almost.
some people do that, and you can, by all means, do that method as well.
Yeah. Just go with what feels right for you.
Yeah. So there we go. It's nicely mixed together. What the sugar does is just takes away some of that tartness of the lemon.
Well, and
juice.
also it sort of makes a crust.
Yeah.
So you're stabbing some holes for the drizzle to go into.
Exactly.
You can use a skewer, a knife.
I just use a sharp knife. You could use a fork.
Back end of a teaspoon if you're not comfortable with a sharp knife.
Yeah. Anything that'll put a couple of holes in it. Mix your lemon juice together, and then just drizzle it over the cup.
And that's why it's called lemon drizzle.
Exactly.
You might want to put a chopping board underneath your cooling rack so that you don't get lemon drizzle on your counter.
Exactly.
Or just do what we did and wipe it up afterwards.
It did get a little bit messy.
But that's okay. Sometimes mess is part of the fun.
It is. I think you insisted on me using all the lemon juice, if I remember.
Maybe.
I was
I don't like waste.
Enough. I know.
Well, you missed this. The top right's got barely any love. And
There we
thumbs
go.
up, and here we go. I think we're about to cut to a lovely shot of this sliced gluten-free lemon drizzle cake. Oh my goodness, look at that. You would never know that wasn't made with flour.
It's a beautiful cake.
It's a lovely cake, a
It's-
golden crumb.
It's so moist.
It's moist, it's tasty, it's tart, it's sweet. What more
Everything
do you want?
you'd want it to be.
So there we go. That was a fantastic gluten-free recipe with Paul.
Yep, and it's been a pleasure as always. Please give it a go, and again, if you take any pictures, please send them to us. Thank you.
We'll see you next week.